Hey, Chris, where are you going?
I'm going to the top.
Dude, you're going the wrong way. You're going nowhere. Do you feel like you're going nowhere? Seeking the heart of God. Next on So What?
Hi, I'm Chris Dorman.
And I'm Don Waite.
Welcome back to So What? Do you ever feel that way? Do you feel like you're going nowhere? Are there sins that you've had your entire Christian life that you just can't seem to get past, no matter what you do? Over the last couple of months, we've been looking at seeking the heart of God, and what we have to always keep in mind is what keeps us from the Lord, what keeps us from real intimacy with Christ is sin. And we've been looking at some of that sin. And for those sins that I don't want to call them habitual sins, I guess. Pastor Bob did a podcast on that this week. Habitual sins. There are some that, for whatever reason, we just can't seem to get past, no matter what we do. We want to talk about that today, and Lord willing, give you some tools maybe to help you work through them and get past them. So one of the things we have to understand is that sin ultimately is ourselves seeking our own pleasure, seeking our own happiness. That we're saying, like what Eve did in the garden, like, God, you're holding out on me. There's something good out there that you don't want me to have, so I'm going to go find it. And since the fall, we're all born with the sin of self-sufficiency that we've talked about.
Yep.
And our primary motivation in almost everything we do is to protect ourselves from pain. And those habitual sins that you wrestle with, that I wrestle with, that especially Don wrestles with, are about protecting ourselves from pain.
Yeah.
What'd you learn?
You know, as hard as it is to really think about, Chris, you know, again, I do a lot of things to please people. I want people to be okay with me. I am a people pleaser. Now, the reality is there's nothing necessarily wrong with wanting people to be happy and to be liked. Everybody wants it, and we're made to have a relationship, right? But here's the thing. When you begin to start to unpack all that's gone on in your life, what's behind all those activities of trying to make everybody okay with me? From like the 4th grade all the way through high school, I was ridiculed by the same group of people over and over and over again.
You were bullied.
For some things that happened when I was in grade school. And I spent a great deal of time avoiding these people and making sure that I didn't encounter them and making sure that I didn't endure that anymore. And on top of that, the extra layer then is I want people to be happy with me, and I want to have a smile on their face, and I want to be the class clown, and I want to make sure that I can control the conversation and that everybody's going to be okay with me. I am protecting myself. Self-protection.
And if you make yourself the center of fun, people aren't going to make fun of you.
Right.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you do that, what you're doing is you're saying, you know what? I'm not going to be real. And I'm going to protect myself. And I don't trust God and His goodness to do that for me. I have to do it myself.
And so how do you really love people?
You can't. You know what? You can't because you're not actually who you are. You're not authentic. You're not real.
How can you really love God?
You can't because you're not being honest. Beloved, you're not being honest with God, with yourself. You are just absolutely in survival mode saying, I'm going to protect myself.
But you got a smile on your face.
That's right. And
people are happy around you.
And I make people smile.
Could that be really wrong? It is.
It can actually be very vile.
It is.
I mean, it's called sin. Let's call it what it is.
And it's a sin of self-protection.
And it's a bigger sin than all the other sins that may come out of that.
And see that's important. That's important because we tend to focus on the big sin like lust or drug abuse or alcoholism or porn or whatever. And our pride, and that's what I've struggled with. I've struggled with pride. I've struggled with pride for many years. Now, when I first became a Christian, I don't believe I was prideful at all. I was a sponge. I was open. I was new. I was young. I didn't know anything, and I was so eager to grow and to learn, and I felt just so empowered and in such passionate love with the Lord. And then some things happened in my walk, and that changed. And for years and years and years, I've been dealing with pride and go, Lord, I know who you are, and I am nothing. I know what the Word says about humanity and who it says you are, and I'm not worthy. I'm not deserving. There's no reason to be prideful, and yet I am. What's wrong with me, Lord? Please help me. I couldn't get past it.
Right.
And I would read 1 John, I would read Hebrews, and this habitual sin, like Bob podcasted this week, and I feel like, oh my gosh, am I really a Christian? Some of you, I've talked to you. I've talked to you recently who are struggling with habitual sin. You've had it for decades and you don't know what's wrong with you. You're wondering if you're a Christian. I'm in the same boat. I understand. I do.
We get it.
What I've done, though, is instead of focusing on pride, as I took a step back, like what Don did, I go, okay, why am I prideful? Where did that come from? And I took the time to think back on pivotal moments in my life, and I found where people that I thought loved me and cared for me and were in my corner, they actually turned on me, and they started to attack me verbally, theologically, some emotionally. And I drew back from that. At first, I was saddened by that. Right. And I found that sadness debilitating, and that sadness turned to anger, and that anger turned to pride. Right. You're not going to hurt me anymore. I'm actually better than you. I'm smarter than you. And so, therefore, whatever you say, it can't hurt me.
Right. If you come at me, if you come at Chris, what are you going to do?
Boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom.
Right.
Boy, I'm going to fire back with both barrels until you are a bloody mess. And that's what I did. And I thought I was doing the Lord's work, and then the next day I'd be filled with guilt, filled with shame, just humiliated and embarrassed by the lack of humility in my heart. I was driven to this behavior, and I didn't know why. Now, by the grace of God, I know why. Now I understand why. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I'm just scared. I just don't want to be hurt. I don't want people to ridicule me. I don't want people to mock me.
And so you're scared, and so what do? You go into that self-protection mode. Because you know what? At the end of the day, what we do, and we have to be honest with ourselves and be honest with God about this, you and I don't trust him. We don't honestly believe that he is sufficient, that he's good, that he's wise.
Trustworthy?
Yeah. We think that we really are the only ones who can take care of ourselves.
We have to protect ourselves.
Right?
The sin of self-sufficiency. Thank you, Adam. Right? That's
Right.
the legacy of Adam, that we are born feeling self-sufficient. So we use our own means to protect ourselves, to feel better about ourselves.
Right.
What keeps us from the Lord is sin. And unless we deal with it seriously, we're not going to have the intimacy that we crave. But as long as we deal with the symptoms, people pleaser, pride. If I deal with pride, if he deals with, I'm a people pleaser, it's wrong. If we deal with just that, it's like we're dealing with the symptoms of a disease and not the actual disease.
Right.
And we never, ever, ever grow.
Chris, I'm going to tell you something, man. Putting a Band-Aid on a severed arm is not going to save your life.
No.
You are going to bleed out and you're going to die in a few minutes. You will be dead, okay? That is not going to work. You got to stop the bleeding. And
no matter how many Bible studies you do on lust or greed or whatever it is, whatever your big sin is, no matter how many Bible studies you do on those things, until you take a step back and you look at the source of it. Why do I feel compelled to do this? You're getting something from it. Your flesh is being fed by it, which is why you continue to do it. But why do you need it? Why must you do it?
Don't hide behind your orthodoxy. Don't hide behind your Bible knowledge. Don't hide behind your pride, your making people smile. All these things that we use as apparatuses to protect ourselves. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Can you use the Bible and your knowledge of the Bible to protect yourself? Yes, you can. Don't do it. Because, first off, it's a fallacy, Chris. You really can't protect yourself. If you were going to be that good at it, after all these years, you would have thought I'd make some progress.
Why do we have the Word of God? The Bible is here to encourage our relationship with Him, to foster a loving, intimate, close, faithful relationship with Him. And I've been struggling with something for like 25 plus years.
Right.
Okay? And it's bothered me and it's hindered me. Yeah. And all my Bible study is not helping me deal with that. But taking a step back and looking at the source of that sin, now, by the grace of God, I have some tools to deal with that. And Lord willing, I will be free. Then there'll be something else.
There'll be something else.
There will be something else, beloved. Because just like going the wrong way on an escalator, you never reach the top. Until you see Jesus face to face, you're never going to be done.
Right.
So don't be discouraged if it takes time. That's okay.
It's a process. Sometimes it's like
a process. It's okay.
One step forward, two steps back. Sometimes
That's
it feels
okay.
like, right? But you know what?
Keep moving forward. Yep. He is faithful. And He loves you. And He will not give up on you. Don't give up on yourself. Thank you for tuning in, my friends. And I'll talk to you next week.
We'll see you soon.